Close your eyes and imagine the most refreshing thing you could eat on a blistering hot summer day. Chances are, you're thinking of a scoop of ice cream. It's the ultimate universal comfort food. But for most of human history, it wasn't a treat you could just grab from a freezer. It was a high-tech, high-stakes miracle of engineering that was reserved for the most powerful people on the planet. The origin of frozen treats actually starts thousands of years ago, long before anyone had a refrigerator. As far back as the 2nd century BC, we have records of people in China creating a snack made of rice and milk that was packed into the snow to solidify. In the Middle East, the Persians perfected a chilled food called falude, made of vermicelli noodles and rose water, kept frozen in massive underground ice pits, known as yakhchals. These were ancient architectural wonders that could keep ice frozen in the middle of a desert. Even the Roman Emperor Nero was said to be obsessed with cold sweets. He allegedly sent runners into the mountains to gather fresh snow, which was then rushed back to the palace and flavored with honey, nuts, and fruit. It was essentially the world's first snow cone. But there was one big problem. You couldn't actually freeze things on demand. You were just chilling ingredients using ice that already existed. The real scientific breakthrough happened when someone discovered the endothermic effect. If you mix salt with ice, it lowers the freezing point of the ice. This allows the mixture to get much colder than 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Cold enough to actually freeze a liquid cream mixture into a solid. This hot in a tub method changed everything. By the time the 16th century rolled around, the Mughal emperors in India were using saltpeter to freeze fruity sorbets. And the technology soon made its way to the royal courts of Europe. For a long time, ice cream was the ultimate status symbol. If you served ice cream at a dinner party in the 1700s, you weren't just showing off your wealth. You were showing off your power over nature. You needed a private ice house, a massive staff to hand crank the mixture for hours, and the money to afford salt and sugar. George Washington reportedly spent about $200 on ice cream in a single summer, which, in the 1790s, was a small fortune. Thomas Jefferson was so obsessed he wrote down his own 18-step recipe for vanilla ice cream, which is still tucked away in the Library of Congress today. The transition from a royal luxury to a common treat happened thanks to a woman named Nancy Johnson. In 1843, she patented the small-made, hand-cranked ice cream freezer. Before Nancy, making ice cream was a grueling process of stirring a pot by hand in a tub of ice. Her invention used a geared crank and a paddle that aerated the cream, making it smoother and much easier to produce. She eventually sold the rights to her patent, but her design is still the basic blueprint for the manual churners we use at summer camps today. As the Industrial Revolution kicked into high gear, ice cream went into overdrive. Jacob Fussell, a milk dealer in Baltimore, became the father of the wholesale ice cream industry in 1851. He had a surplus of cream and decided to freeze it on a massive scale. By using the new railroad systems to ship ice and cream, he made the treat affordable for the average person for the first time. Then came the icons we know today. The ice cream soda became a massive hit in the late 1800s. But it actually led to the invention of the sundae, because some local blue laws banned the sale of soda on Sundays. Clever shop owners started serving the ice cream and syrup without the carbonated water so they could keep selling treats on the Sabbath. They called it a Sunday, later changing the spelling to Sunday, to avoid offending religious leaders. The edible cone was another happy accident, popularized at the 1904 St. Louis World's Fair. Legend has it that an ice cream vendor ran out of glass bowls and a neighboring waffle vendor rolled up his thin zalabia pastries to hold the scoops. It was the perfect portable solution for a crowd on the move. By the time the mid-20th century arrived, continuous process freezers and the invention of the soft-serve machine by people like Tom Carvel and the founders of Dairy Queen made ice cream available on every street corner. We went from emperors sending runners into the mountains to a world where you can get a pint of Chunky Monkey delivered to your door by a drone. From ancient Chinese rice ice to the liquid nitrogen-chilled scoops of today, the history of ice cream is a story of human ingenuity and our refusal to let a little thing like the weather stop us from having a cold snack. So, next time you're digging into a bowl of chocolate chip, just remember, you're eating something that would have made an 18th century king green with envy. Does knowing that ice cream used to be a royal secret make it taste any better? Or are you just happy you don't have to hand crank it for 3 hours? Thanks for watching.